one of the biggest decisions that's going to be made leading up to Super Bowl Sunday, and quite honestly, I think that it will be made throughout the game on Sunday, is what do you do with Jalen Ramsey if you're Raheem Morris? Do you decide for him to travel with JaMarr Chase, something that the Rams have not done a lot of during the regular season, a little bit more in the postseason, which we'll talk about in just 1 second, but do you decide that you want to, for lack of a better word, erase JaMarr Chase from this game? Now, is he going to get a couple of catches? Of course he is. He's a really good player, and they're going to find a way to scheme him open occasionally. But if Jalen Ramsey decides that, I'm going to travel with him, or Raheem Morris decides, Jalen, wherever he goes, you go, well, that's going to severely limit the opportunities for him to be the difference maker that he has been for this team all year long. Jalen Ramsey is the best at that position as there is in the league. Now, he's a risk taker. He's going to take some shots along the way, and maybe you can catch him napping the way that Mike Evans did, maybe peeking in a little bit, and you hit it over the top for a touchdown. Tampa was a big mistake by Jalen Ramsey in that game. So maybe there's some opportunities for that. But Jalen Ramsey has said, you saw it during the press conference, that he is lobbying for this, that you guys know what I'm about. This is what I want. I want a chance to match up against the other team's best. So, yeah, I would like to do it. But if the game plan calls for something different, he's happy to do that as well. So here's the biggest difference, because they have not done this a lot during the regular season, whether it's a DK Metcalf situation or any of the other top flight wide receivers that we've seen the Rams play against this season. They don't really do it. As good as Jalen is, he kind of plays one side. Sometimes they'll put him in the slot, but it's not that he's just following one other player all over the field. That's not how they've used him. The one time they did use him like that was in the divisional round against Tampa Bay, where all of a sudden you had him trailing Mike Evans on 69% of his routes. That's a ton for him. There wasn't another game during the regular season, or during the playoffs, I should say, wild card against Arizona or the NFC Championship game against the San Francisco 49ers, where he traveled somebody with more than 35% of their play. So he was kind of just, I'm going to be over here. I'm going to do my thing. Maybe I'll move a little bit, but I'm not following Debo. I'm not following Brandon Ayuk. I'm not following any of the guys that the Arizona Cardinals have. And I think that's the answer right there. I think that's why you're not going to see him just stick with JaMarr Chase. I think you're going to see him play a position. I think you're going to see him play a side. Now, maybe there will be certain circumstances, because it's the collective of wide receivers that are going to determine what you do, right? Think about this. What Cincinnati is bringing to this game offensively with the players that they have, it's not just JaMarr Chase. It's T. Higgins. It's Tyler Boyd. Those are three very good wide receivers. You're going to have to make sure that everybody is playing well that day. You're going to have to make sure that everyone else that you're going to lean on in these situations, whether it's a couple of other corners in Darius Williams or David Long, those guys are going to have to be up for the task. If you're going to try to match up in coverage with your safeties, it could be Rapp, assuming that he's back. It could be Nick Scott, who's getting some confidence and going along. We saw the big hit that he put on Debo. We saw him intercept Tom Brady in the divisional round. He's really coming in to his own at this point. Or maybe it's the old cagey vet that we've talked a lot about in Eric Weddle. I think those guys are honestly the question about whether or not you have Jalen travel. Because if they're able to do what they do, then you don't need to do it. Maybe you can mix and match in certain situations, but this isn't a, hey, listen, we've got Mike Evans over there. Think about the Tampa game. The reason that he was able to travel with Tampa is when Antonio Brown was off doing whatever it is that he does, but buying $2 million suites for the Super Bowl, apparently, which, by the way, can I just throw this in there? What flex is that exactly? Where he put the receipt of buying the owner's box for the Super Bowl, a couple of $1 million. If you had real juice, don't you kind of get that stuff? I don't know if Jerry Rice or any of the other great wide receivers of their generations are having to go into their own pocket to attend the Super Bowl. I don't think that's quite the flex that you think it is, AB. I could be wrong, but that's a very odd. We know you're rich. We know you've got a lot of money. This was a very weird thing to do. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, but he wasn't there. Chris Godwin was hurt. The rest of the Tampa receiving corps was pretty thin outside of Mike Evans, right? So what did they do? Well, if they only got one guy, I'm going to put my best guy on their best guy. I'll let my other guys match up with their other guys. That's not what this is. JaMarr Chase is their best guy for sure, but the drop-off from Chase to these other guys that I mentioned, right? You're talking T. Higgins, you're talking Tyler Boyd, is not the drop-off from Mike Evans to the other guys that were playing in Tampa. It's not the drop-off that you look at San Francisco, right? You've got Debo, but you got Brandon Ayuk. You've got some other players there that you need to be accountable for. The Rams had some trouble with Juwan Jennings in one of the games. So I think it's more of a, matchup of what you have on the other side. And I don't think it's a matter of, does Jalen want to do it? Is Jalen capable of doing it? I think those are pretty easy decisions. Of course he wants to do it, and of course he's capable of doing it. It's what else is out there. You may have an opportunity where you think that this is going to Boyd or Higgins, and Chase is maybe not the guy, and then maybe you want Jalen on him in that situation. We'll see. This is much more about whether or not your other defensive backs, your safeties, your other corners are going to be up to it in those moments, much more so than whether or not Jalen Ramsey is going to travel with Marr Chase 60% of the time, 70% of the time, or whatever it is. If there's one guy that could just tear you up the way that it is against Mike Evans and the Bucs, then fine, let's go focus on him. But the Rams haven't really done it other than that one time all season long. So I would expect them to be a little less judicious in trying just to match up in that one spot. But I would imagine that Raheem Morris and Jalen Ramsey are probably having that conversation over and over again, because we know Jalen loves a challenge. We know that he's up for a challenge. And I guarantee you this too. I bet you JaMarr Chase is saying the same thing in the offensive meetings for the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah, give me a chance at that guy. I'll take my chances. I don't know if Joe Burrow loves that, right? Joe Burrow's a pretty confident guy, but I don't know if he's looking and saying, where's Jalen? I want to throw it at number 5. Seems like a bad plan. Stay away from 99, stay away from 5, stay away from 40, and see, and we'll take our chances with everybody else, right? I think that's probably the offensive game plan. We'll see how it all shakes out coming up here in just a couple of days. Okay.